Welcome to the Supreme Lending Dallas Show, where you'll be introduced to different speakers on different topics, and you'll meet different guests for each of our episodes. Let's get started.
Hi, I'm Liz Evans, the host of the Supreme Lending Dallas Show, and I want to welcome you here today with our guest, Loan Officer Juan Arceo. And Juan, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey guys, good morning. My name is Juan Arceo. I'm with Supreme Lending Dallas, Corey Martillo's region. I'm a loan officer. My NMLS ID is 260196. I've been with Supreme Lending for about 3 years now. I've been doing mortgages for about 16 total. And that's just a little bit about me.
Great. So before we get on to our topic of equity in your home, we're going to show a few photos because we want to get to know you also on a personal level. So Juan, tell us about this photo here.
Yeah, absolutely. So what you guys are looking at there is some of our tailgating days. Unfortunately, through COVID, we weren't able to tailgate last year, but we're definitely diehard Cowboys fans. And I know it's kind of brutal to be in these last few years with the records we've put up, but nonetheless, we're faithful. And we definitely do our best to get out there as early as possible to have a great time.
And then this next photo of you and this lovely lady.
That's my beautiful wife, Christina. Yeah, me and Christina have been married for about 16 years now. She's the woman that made me the man I am today, and I love her to death.
And you have some kids, correct?
I do. I have two boys. My boys are grown. Well, I say grown. They're teenagers. I've got a senior and a sophomore. So I'm pretty much on my way out. Hey!
Okay, and then we have another photo of you at the Dallas Cowboys game. This just shows you how huge of a fan you are of the Dallas Cowboys, right?
Absolutely. We love being out there. It's always a great time, great atmosphere. Cowboys fans for life, baby.
Great. Okay, so now we're going to get to talking about equity in the home for these homeowners. Juan, what is equity?
So that's a great question, Liz. So when we're talking about equity, primarily we're talking about the difference between the balance of the asset, right? So what you owe against your asset versus the value of the asset. So a good example is if you have a $200,000 home and you owe $100,000 against it, you basically have $100,000 in equity in the home. It's the difference between the balance and the asset value.
Okay. And why would people want to know about equity in their home, or what would you suggest homeowners do with the equity in their home?
Well, that's a great question, Liz. So we're in a very unique time in the sense that our economy here has just completely blown up over the last 5-7 years. And a lot of us that have been homeowners for that period of time now have a tremendous vested equity in our home. Now, when we talk about equity, you want to think about equity similar to like the stock market, right? It can evaporate and disappear at any time. It's all based on market movements. And so right now that we're in a position where we have all-time high values, right? Nobody's ever had an appraisal come in higher on their home ever in the state of Texas. And the interest rates are still at historic lows. And so it makes it the perfect time for you to take advantage of the equity in your home and use it to either pay off credit card debt, maybe buy yourself a boat, a vacation home, a second home, an investment. The opportunities are endless. A lot of us don't realize that equity that we've earned in our home is our money, and I can do whatever I want to do with it.
And I'm sure you get asked this question a lot, Juan, and that is, what would my out-of-pocket expense be if I wanted to refinance?
Absolutely. And so when we're talking about refinancing, the process is very similar to when you acquired the home. The only difference is you don't have a down payment requirement, as the equity is basically your down payment in the home. The only expense that you'll pay out of pocket is your appraisal, and that runs $495.
Okay. And how long does it take for the appraisal process to come back?
Honestly, right now, with the abundance of refinances and transactions that have been going through, they've been a little bit delayed. We're seeing them come back right now, typically in about 10 days from the time we ordered them.
Okay. And don't you have a special running on appraisals in the month of March and April for those homeowners that are looking to refinance?
Absolutely. If you call in and request a cash out refinance with me and we close within the month of March and April and you reference the show as where you found me, I will literally pay for your appraisal out of pocket.
Wow, that's really wonderful. That helps on the expense.
Absolutely. That's $500 that you don't have to pay.
Great. Thank you, Juan. And people also ask, should I refinance if selling my home in the next couple of years? So what do you suggest to that?
You know, that's a loaded question, and it's a great question because it comes up quite a bit. And it's really personal, right? Because ideally, we have to look at, for one, what's the purpose of the refinance? If we're going to be, taking care of a couple of things around the house, maybe taking care of some debt, alleviating monthly obligations for the short term, then absolutely it would make sense. But there's what they call your break-even point. And the break-even point is basically the cost divided by the savings that you're going to be having. If that savings is enough to make it worth your while within a 5-year period of you thinking of selling the home, then 100% you need to refinance. But it's a very personal question. Every situation is unique. The best thing I would say is just reach out to me, and I'm more than happy to go over your particular situation.
And how can homeowners contact you?
You can reach me direct. I'm actually very easy to find. I got a couple of different ways for you guys to access me. My cell phone number is 469-438-1883. You could reach me online at juanthatloanguy.com or simply using my first and last name, juanarceo.com.
Okay. And we have another photo of you, Juan. What is this of?
That's some of the good times I have. So I'm a big beach guy. I just love being in the sun and having my feet in the sand. And this was a picture that I took in Florida last year, just right before everything got shut down. I took the family down there and we had a little fun in the sun.
And where are some of the places that you've been to as far as beaches?
Well, honestly, I used to be really big on going to like the Dominican, Punta Cana, and going down to Cancun and Playa and cruising that whole corridor. Frankly, last year was the first year I ever been to Florida. And I'll tell you that the beaches are so beautiful that, honestly, I don't even know why I was leaving the States, So now I just load up the car and head down to Florida. It's beautiful.
You think you'll retire there?
Honestly, my retirement visions are more bouncing around places. So I have the idea that, within the next few years, not be, completely retired, but, call it somewhat semi-retired. I've been doing mortgages so long that it's kind of easy for me, not to sound arrogant, but it's pretty easy for me to put something together, and help somebody out. Mm-hmm. And so it's one with technology nowadays, you can do your work from anywhere. And so it's one where my vision is to be within the next couple of years, maybe working in Playa del Carmen for a month at a time, and then coming back to Dallas for a month, and then going to Florida for a month, coming back to Dallas for a month. Dallas has been a great blessing for me and my family, and Dallas will always be home. We'll never leave Dallas.
Oh, you are truly blessed.
Absolutely.
With your job position and your family.
Absolutely.
So we have a call that's come in, Juan, and they're asking about, can they get cash out just to put in the bank for like peace of mind sleeping at night in case the industry does something?
Absolutely. And frankly, that's one of the biggest motivations that consumers have when doing these cash out loans. Is when we think about, historics, right now, consumer debt is at an all-time high. What that means is that all of us, right, the majority of us have $5, $10, $15, $50,000 in credit card debt that we're paying 16, 20, 28% interest on. And so when you factor the ability to be able to refinance your home, take care of all of those debts, and still put away a nest egg for an emergency fund, it's an awesome feeling. I had a case just last week. A lady called in. She's taken $50,000 out of her house. She's paying off roughly about $47,000 worth of debt. Her monthly cash flow is increasing just in minimum payments reported, right? So the minimum payment reported on a credit card, typically $25. Just in minimum payments, she was saving over $1,500 a month. If we factored how much she was truly paying, it was closer to $2,400 a month.
That's a huge savings, Juan.
It's huge. And so when you put that in perspective, think about what an extra $1,000 a month in cash flow would do for you and your family, right? What would an extra $2,000 do for you and your family?
Absolutely.
And a lot of these folks come in with rates that are still in the 5s and 6% when rates for something like that are down into the mid 3s. So you're still in a position where you could benefit tremendously by doing a cash out refinance. And there's been no better time than now to do it.
Thank you, Juan. And this concludes our show for today. If you're looking to see how much equity you have in your home, or if you're looking to refinance, just have questions, give Juan a call. His phone number and email address is up on the screen. And we want to thank you for joining us for this episode on equity. Thank you, Juan Arceo.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate you having me.